Year 12, it is Miss Hay here. So this week you are going to continue to work through your UCAS personal statement workbook that you received on Futures Day. The idea is that this week, along with the support of your tutor, you can work on the examples and ideas that you had that day, so you go away to the summer holidays with a workbook full of material that you can write up into a personal statement. Now, if you're planning to apply for an apprenticeship or job rather than university, you're going to write a covering letter instead of a personal statement. You can use the same techniques, you're just going to focus them on the apprenticeship or role that you're applying for instead. This means that on the first day back in September, everyone will have a personal statement or covering letter to give to their tutor for feedback. So let's look at the format and structure of a personal statement. So the personal statement is split into 3 sections, and in each section you have a question to answer. There are 4,000 in total characters to use, so every letter and every space is worth 1 character. In each section you need to use a minimum of 350 characters. It's important that you don't waste characters. So for instance, you don't need to write in your personal statement what your predicted grades are because the admissions tutor already has a copy of those. And also remember not to repeat information across the sections. Although this is the format and structure for a personal statement, if you are writing a covering letter, if you apply the same structure, that will also work really effectively. So what are the questions that you are going to answer on your personal statement? So in section number 1, you need to write about why do you want to study this course or subject. In section number 2, you're going to write about how have your qualifications and studies helped you to prepare for this course or subject. And in the last section, you're going to talk about what else you have done to prepare outside of education and why are these experiences useful. But first of all, I think we need to address to AI or not to AI. So this information here is taken from the UCAS website. So obviously, if you go to ChatGPT, for instance, and ask it to write a personal statement for you, well, actually, the UCAS software is going to pick up on that it is just AI generated. However, for me, the main point of not using AI to write your personal statement for you, despite the fact that it would be fraudulent, is that it would sound really bland, hence why I use this photo, and far too generic. So AI can be really useful for suggesting examples and ideas, and yes, I'm happy to admit that the examples in this PowerPoint, I've used AI to help me generate them, but unless you write about you and your personal experiences in your PowerPoint, not in your PowerPoint, sorry, in your personal statement, it will just end up being a really dull as well as fraudulent read. So writing a personal statement or a cover letter is as easy as ABC. So everything that you write about needs to take this structure. So A is for activity. So you start by describing a specific activity, experience or opportunity you've taken part in. B, you're going to benefit from the benefit of what you learnt from that activity. So how you developed or what you took away from the experience. Then you're going to link it back to the course or the apprenticeship and talk about how it's helped prepare you for that. We're going to have a look at some examples like this. We are going to first of all start with the last section of the personal statement because I think that's the easiest section to fill in. So the last section is about what else have you done to prepare outside of education and why these experiences useful. I had to think about what year 12 students at Sawtry might have done that they could write about in this section. So I thought about employment. So a lot of you have got part-time jobs. So that's a really excellent thing that you can write about in section 3. Here are 3 examples of jobs that you might have. So for instance, you might work at a fast food chain, you might work in a cafe, or you might work in retail. So for instance, if you've got a job at McDonald's, as part of the activity, you would describe what you do at McDonald's, how long have you worked there. You might talk about any extra responsibilities you've been given during the job. B is benefits. So what skills have you gained from working at McDonald's? So it might have strengthened your time commitment, your time management, your communication, your teamwork skills. For C, for course, how have those skills benefited you for either an apprenticeship or a university course that you're applying for? So these skills will be invaluable at university, where balancing deadlines, collaborating with others and managing independent study all require strong self-discipline and resilience. So you could go along the line of using your job to describe the general skills that you will have for the future. Or what you might do is describe how your job has inspired you to do your particular course, or has given you a greater insight into the course that you'll be doing. So for instance, if you work in a cafe, so you describe the work that you do in the cafe, but only a brief overview. Okay. B, this role has improved my ability to stay calm under stress, empathise with others, and observe how people interact in different social situations. So it's described the benefits that you've got from that job. Then, linking it to the course, you could say something like, these insights have made me more curious about human behaviour, which is why I'm excited to explore it further through a degree in psychology. Similarly, if you've got a job in retail and you want to apply for a course in business and marketing, well, there's a really nice direct link there. And this is a really good point to refer back to my earlier point where I talked about AI. So AI, these AI examples, they are generic and bland. So you need to make these personal to you. Number 1, because otherwise it's fraudulent. Number 2, you want your personal statement to sound interesting, to have some character. So write about yourself and it'll be far more interesting. So let's discuss work experience. So this slide here has got lots of prompting questions of what you can write about once you've completed your work experience. I'll send this PowerPoint to you so you can have this over the summer to help you write up what you gained from doing your work experience. You might be part of a sports team or do D&E. Again, some excellent activities to write about in section 3. So if you are on a football team, for instance, you can discuss that you're a committed member, you've completed training twice a week, you've competed in matches. You can discuss the benefits that you've gained from that. So for instance, discipline, resilience, teamwork, and then don't forget to link that either back to the course that you're applying for or the apprenticeship. So talk about how those qualities will support you either at university or in your apprenticeship. Again, if you have done the Bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award, perfect. You can talk about the activity, the skills you've gained from that, and how that has set you up for your university course or apprenticeship. So it's also worth noting that you could add that you hope to continue this activity at university, because this shows a sustained interest. You'll contribute to university life outside of your studies. So it's not just what you're going to take from the course, but it's what you're going to add back to the university. You could look at what you do for enrichment. So on this slide, you've got a couple of examples of what you could write about if you work in the science prep room, for instance, or if you are a teaching assistant. It's worth noting, don't talk about CAS in your personal statement because universities won't know what CAS is or stands for. So it's better to say that you acted as a teaching assistant. Don't forget you'll have a copy of this personal statement so you can have a look at those examples there. Sorry, a copy of this PowerPoint. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to complete section 3 of your booklet. So use the examples from the previous slides to help you. Use these sections here from UCAS to give you some inspiration of what to write, and good luck.